This ain't no disco.
This ain't no country club neither.
This is RVA.
Welcome, 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 everybody.
Hey, guys.
It's been another 2 weeks. They've flown by.
Hot as hell.
That's true. I got sweat on my sweat.
But anyways, this is Lala.
In the Dungeon, episode
16.
Wow, I was like, which episode?
Our podcast now has their driver's license.
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
Woohoo! I don't know. Don't get in front of us. You might run your ass over.
So, Liz, what have you been up to?
A fair amount, actually. Let's see. 2 weeks ago tomorrow was a very big night for us.
Ooh.
My dad and Roger had their first sleepover with little Boudreaux.
Oh,
Yes,
who's Boudreaux for the people who don't know?
My sweet little toy poodle. He's 13. He's a sassy little wench.
He is.
But first, we went out to dinner at the Continental in Manchester. It was so good, as usual. Everyone should go have their vodka limeades. Run, don't walk. They're so quaffable. You go to the Manchester or the West Hampton location and also have their yummy food. Their Brussels sprouts with the blue cheese. You and I have split those before.
They're good.
Oh, they're good. So then my dad and Roger snuggled up with Boudreaux while we went home and mentally prepared for the pony pasture 5K that ended up being at Forest Hill, oddly enough.
Fuck.
This is true.
Sorry, Mom. I didn't mean to say the F word.
Richmond Roadrunners Club dedicates this annual 5K to the memory of Dr. Peter Still. Peter was a scholar, a gentleman, runner, and a friend to many.
And a bullfrog.
That's right. The proceeds of the race benefit the Richmond Roadrunners Scholarship Fund. Each year, the scholarship has awarded over multiple $2,000 scholarships. I cannot talk, sorry, to graduating high school seniors. They're awarded to individuals who have and will represent the beneficial aspects of running as a healthy lifestyle. So not me when I was that age, but
It was me when I was that age.
yeah, right.
I'm trying to be like that again now.
The winners were announced at the end of the race, but I missed that part because we got a popsicle and exited stage left because it was kind of weird. Like, we did the race, but then I was like, this seems really short. Well, they didn't signal the runners in the front the correct way, so we were supposed to do 2 loops around the lake at Forest Hill. We only did 1. So it was a little over 2.5 miles. But still, I came in 11th for all the women in my age group.
Damn, hold on. I need my sound
Thank
machine.
Thank you. And Matt came in 3rd. So, I mean, we kicked ass.
Wow.
Yes, let me hear my applause. Thank you. Thank you. And we're signed up for another race if anyone wants to join us, the Speak Up 5K, which is September 9th at Bird Park. It's a nice, flat course. So I hope to see all of our listeners there. Then we picked up Boudreaux and had a lovely evening. We treated ourselves to Cobra Burger that night. It was so good. I think it's the best smash burger in the city. Then this past weekend, we celebrated my stepdad Mike's birthday at the Brouhaha. It's Virginia Craft Beer Month, and the Virginia Museum of History and Culture hosted its 6th annual Brouhaha this past Saturday. Yes, it was a real ha-ha-ha. This year's event featured a selection of brews, meads, and hard sodas. And oh my God, they had a grape hard soda that was the bomb. And I'm sorry, I can't remember where it was from. I will look into that. But there was live music, food trucks, and access to all the museum's exhibitions, including the Apollo exhibit that's going on right now that's really interesting. Then we went to Lost Letter for dinner, which is like Long Oven's Italian restaurant. It was really good. The portions are small, though, so I would say err on the side of ordering too much. Then on Sunday, Olivia and our friends John and Corinne came over for brunch, and we had some good front porch sitting and drinking. Yeah, we love a good Sunday fun day. Besides hanging with me, Olivia, what have you been up to?
I'm having too much fun with the sound machine. Sometimes I don't know what the buttons are going to
She's
sound
on
like.
a roll.
But anyway, my friend Sarah and I met at the Short Pump Mall 2 Saturdays ago. And we spent money that we didn't have on some cowgirl-esque outfits since we are both going through a country girl phase.
Yeehaw!
I already said we spent too much money. We went to Buckle and we went to Windsor. And then after we got our outfits, we went to the new Great American Ranch that used to be Club Midway in Midlothian. We rode the mechanical bull and we danced to some old 90s country. And they played She's Gone Country.
Sounds like a hell of a night.
It was stuck in my head for 2 weeks. Liz knows.
Damn it, she's putting it in mine too.
It's a super fun place, and it gets packed around 11. We're like, where the hell are all the people? And when it hit 11 o'clock, they all showed up. Side note, we need to go back because I need to redeem myself on the mechanical bull. I lasted 1 second, and then they gave me another try because they felt bad, and I lasted
0.5 seconds.
Yeah. I went 2.7 seconds. It was so embarrassing.
Was his name Fu Manchu?
Okay, so after that, Liz and I, and of course Matt, her lovely husband, we've been trying to live and eat healthier. So we've been cooking brunch instead of going out and getting drunk as hell and overeating and ordering DoorDash.
You just keep the drunk as hell part.
Yeah, never mind. But we've been taking long, brisk walks together. So, yes. And then lastly, what did you make us, Liz, by the way?
Oh, I made a healthy egg McMuffin. Or no, McGriddle.
Yeah, McGriddle.
Yeah, McGriddle. It was like almond flour and eggs and stuff with some sausage pushed into the top.
It was so
delish.
good.
Oh, and the drizzle of syrup.
But it was
Sugar-free.
Like sugar-free, yeah. Okay, and then lastly, I went to another rodeo, the Doswell Rodeo.
She's really gone country.
And we had ourselves a yeehaw of a time. We got to see horse buck riding, which I've never seen before and I didn't know existed. It was fascinating and, to be honest, very, very hot to watch as a woman. Oh, my Lord. Also, we watched the cowgirls ride the horses at full speed around barrels. And for some reason, it made me cry. I don't know why. There's just something so beautiful about seeing the bond between a woman and her animal. And it reminded me of me and my cat, and it was so beautiful.
Oh.
So, yeah. Lee?
Lee, what you been up to?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
He's gone country.
Well, kind of. Sunday was my 35th wedding anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, Lee.
Yeah, we went to the movies, saw Oppenheimer.
How was it?
It's good, but we had the popcorn and soda, and I think I'm suffering from the
after effects.
Yeah, and then
Worth it?
No.
no, not at all. And then we went to Texas Roadhouse. So
Roadhouse.
Did you ride the saddle?
no, I can't get on anything.
They bring it to you and put it under you.
They have to lift me up.
Yeah.
That's such a challenge, you know. But yeah, that was my weekend. Yeah.
He went country, folks.
Oh, well, we hope you feel better.
Thank you.
He's a real trooper tonight because literally he has freaking pancreatitis.
Yeah.
And if anyone has ever had that, you know it hurts like a son of a bitch.
Not fun.
It's not country.
We are going to introduce our guest. Lee, would you like to introduce her, or
Sure.
should we?
Whitney Zahar?
Zahar.
Zahar. She loves to weave stories. She is passionate about history, ghost stories, and love beating all odds in the end. By day, she is a busy historic sites interpreter and visitor center manager at a local museum in Virginia. By night, she releases her stories and words upon the world. Her first novella, The Safe Room, came out in June 2021, and she has several other projects in the works. When she's not writing, Whitney loves hanging out with her husband and son and family and friends, reading, hiking, taking photographs, and coloring. She is also the co-host and senior producer of the Paraunity Podcast. Yes. She's a world traveler, having lived in South Korea, Taiwan, and Ecuador. Had quite a life, but Whitney wouldn't have it any other way. So, without further ado, we give you Whitney.
Woohoo!
The crowd goes
The crowd is getting
Oh,
wild.
I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm so
Whitney.
eager. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
We're so happy to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me. This is
Yeah.
exciting. And
Must
thank
I
you,
say,
Lee.
We love your energy. This is already so much fun talking to you before the podcast even started.
Oh,
You're so much fun and you're so bubbly, and I love it.
Yes, I try to keep it together.
I love it. We love it.
Thank you. I love it too. I knew I was going to love you guys.
And it's so cool we're talking to a fellow podcaster.
Yeah. I mean,
We're going to pick your brain.
I don't do the tech stuff very well, but I'm pretty
do
good
we.
at researching. I can't wait to share the podcast with you guys.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Good.
So
Everyone else, check it out as well.
this
Yes.
podcast is going to be a little different because Lee knows Whitney, and Lee will be doing a lot of this interview. So go ahead, Lee, whenever you're ready.
Take it away.
I got the mic and I'm
Cowboy,
sweating.
take me away.
I think we have a theme here.
Well, I'll help him out at first. Where are you from originally?
Originally, I am from Virginia Beach.
Oh,
Yep.
beach girl.
And grew up there all my life. I went to college at Longwood College, now Longwood University in Farmville, Virginia.
Hells yeah.
Bustling megalopolis right outside of Richmond. I loved it.
They have a McAdoo's. Come on.
They have a McAdoo's. I love their Baltimore Zoo.
Oh my God.
That was my age 21 drink.
I thought you were talking about an actual zoo. I'm like, what?
No, it's an actual drink because literally they mix it with everything. Oh
Is that the blue one?
No, that's the blue motorcycle.
Okay,
Is it
I've
like a
been
Long
cut
Island?
off on those before.
Say that again?
Is it like a Long Island iced tea?
Oh, on steroids.
What?
Oh yeah.
All
yeah.
their food is so good. We should do a trip to Farmville because my grandma grew up like right around there.
Absolutely. And oh God, so many fond memories and so many amazing things have gone on in Farmville with the way their main street has been revitalized. Looking also at the college itself, I'm like, oh, this is where I met my first boyfriend.
Aw.
It's also the name of one of my favorite games from 2008. Farmville.
Yes,
You
I
ever
know.
play it?
I did not, but I watched a lot of people play it,
That's hilarious.
which was very entertaining.
I know. I remember people like the receptionist being like, "Hold on, I have to go tend to my farm." Like,
Yeah,
while we're-
pretty
we're
much.
growing up.
It's like the Bejeweled and the
Water my
best
strawberries.
fiends and all that.
I got a harvest.
Oh God! And boy, do you get a harvest! Let me tell you. But I will tell you, the sound of digging up those vegetables, it's such a satisfying little sound.
right?
It was
Oh
so
my gosh,
cute.
I
What do they call that? Like the ASMR or whatever.
Yeah.
that was pre-ASMR.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Anyway, so from Longwood, I've pretty much lived all around the state of Virginia, and we actually live in Henrico County. We live in Glen Allen, not too far from Lee, actually.
Nice.
And live as well. We came here back in 2018. My husband was involved in the Carpenters Union, and he got a job building the new Facebook data center out
Oh, nice.
by the airport.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, he is not constructing anymore, which is great. He's now working as a CAD technician.
Oh, cool.
But this area has been a part of my life, at least for so long, and I'm happy to bring my husband and son here, and we love it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, in the intro, said that you've lived all over the world. How many languages do you speak?
Oh boy. Okay. Well, fluency. That's an interesting one. I do know Spanish. I studied Spanish when I was in college. I'm working on it now. My Duolingo owl shames me every time I miss a lesson. It kind of looks at me with those
No
big,
bueno.
yeah, pretty, he's like, will you study? He's got the big little eyes going and go. And I'm like, oh God, you're too damn cute, Duo.
What are you talking about?
Duolingo. It's a little app that you can
I thought you meant
download.
an actual person. I'm like,
No,
who is this guy?
the Duolingo is an owl
Oh,
as its mascot, and it is so cute. And you just feel so guilty for missing a day. But yeah, I've been getting my Spanish back working with Duolingo. I do know some French. I do understand some Mandarin Chinese, which is from Taiwan.
你好。
Ah,
谢谢。
你好吗？
谢谢。
中文名字是孙乐乐，我的英文名字是 Olivia Hoover。
So good. I don't speak it, so I don't speak it well, but I understood pretty much everything you said. 我是中文一点点。
I don't know what you said.
I speak Chinese very little, but the little I know, I can
Same.
do. Yeah, but I understand it. My son, however, was born in Taiwan, so
wow.
he
Whoa.
was raised learning Mandarin Chinese, and I think he told me he wants to learn it again, so that's good. Spanish, of course, helped me out in Ecuador. Korean, I don't speak a lot of Korean, but I can appreciate the language, and it's easy to read. It is true. You can actually learn the Korean alphabet on the airplane to Korea.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You actually can do it. I also know some American Sign Language. So
Nice.
I'm not fluent in every single language, but I'm working on
Dibble
communicate.
dabbler.
Yeah, and I love to communicate, and I think it just helps a lot.
What inspired you to start writing? I mean, what were your influences?
Ooh, okay. Now we get to the heart of the matter.
And like, when did it all start?
Oh, all of it?
Like, when did you start to write? Like, how did it evolve into what you do to where you are now?
Getting published.
Yeah, which is amazing. I'm still kind of boggled with my mind that actually happened. But so I've always loved to tell stories. I was into it when I was a kid. I loved writing the little assignments with that, that kind of papery thin paper that had a blank space to draw.
Oh,
picture
yeah,
up
yeah, yeah.
top, and then the double ruled lines. I
Yes.
loved writing on those. And then when I was about in middle school, I just decided, okay, I'm going to write something. And I did. I actually wrote a 7-chapter novel.
Wow.
That's
It
awesome.
was it exists somewhere. I may dig it out again and just totally revamp it because it was like I wrote a romance novel when I was.
Oh my God, that's
13.
awesome.
God.
We have to find that. You have to.
I'm sure it is buried in somewhere at my mom's house. I will dig it up and I will cringe and then I will
Share it.
rewrite the whole damn thing. Probably.
We need a reading here on the podcast.
Oh God. Oh,
For our
God.
Patreon.
Ooh. But it was also reading. I'm a huge reader. I was reading lots of things. Even in school, regardless of what reading level I was at, I was reading just about anything. I was reading Agatha Christie when I was in 5th grade. Of course, I did stumble into Flowers in the Attic when I was in 8th grade.
I stand.
Yep.
I read the whole series and the weird
Yes.
ones. Like, have you heard the other ones that they're making? Like Dawn.
Yeah.
They're doing the Lifetime
Yeah.
movie of now.
Real quick, what is a stan? I keep hearing it.
We stand for it, basically, or we
Oh.
worship it,
Yes.
or we hold it
A super
sacred.
fan. Okay.
Yes.
Probably, yeah. I stand a lot of things.
I mean, if you don't like a little light incest in your novels as a teenager growing up, what the hell?
Okay, to be honest, that part kind of went right over my head. What really stuck out to me was what they had to do to survive,
That's true. Yeah.
and it got pretty gory. And I'm like, oh, gross. Oh, I like it because I could see it happening right in front of me. And this is a cool story involving the writer. When I was about 8 or 9 years old, I was living in Virginia Beach. I was walking home from school, and I see this woman sitting in our backyard, an elderly lady, in a wheelchair. She had a bird cage open on a table in front of her. And she was just sitting there kind of writing, very quiet, very serene. And I asked my mom about it, and Mom said that she was a writer and her cockatiel had escaped. And so she had an idea that it was somewhere in the neighborhood. So she was going through all these different houses to maybe see if the cockatiel will come back. Well, as it turned out, that lady was V.C. Andrews.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and I have never, ever,
Holy crap.
ever forgotten that.
Oh my God.
I never spoke to her. I was just a little kid. This
Yeah.
was an old lady. But yeah, that was
is so cool.
fascinating.
That's like synchronicity.
That was wild. And now, after technical difficulties,
Sorry, you
Yes,
guys.
tell us more about
Lee,
VC.
Lee is being a trooper, and he has some really bad health stuff going on at the moment. And we're just gonna keep rolling, and let's just say a little prayer. He's gonna pull through. He'll be okay.
I love you, Lee.
We love you.
Yes.
We love you, Lee.
We love you, Lee.
It'll be okay.
Lovely Lee.
Okay, so
Anyway,
where were we?
so talking more
cockatiel.
about the writer's influences.
Yeah, that's insane. That's like synchronicity.
It was so, and I don't think I truly appreciate it back then, of course, but as I grew older, I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. And she did lead a very fascinating life, but, little did I know. But I just would read everything. I would read mysteries. I would read poetry. I would read these crazy teen-geared romance novels because I could. I just wanted to read them. I loved it because they were set in historical time periods.
Right.
So I really loved that. I read The Vampire Diaries.
Yeah. Yep.
Original. I am Team Damon. Hey, Damon back in the
I am
90s
too.
was hot.
Oh my God.
Na-
Damon was so hot. I actually rewatched the show.
Oh my God.
And I was like, God, I'm obsessed with him.
I was 14 when those books came out.
What?
Wow.
That must have been something.
Oh yeah.
14 when Twilight came out, so
Oh my God. Wow. There's just something about the audience of 14-year-olds.
I know.
vampires.
Note to self. Anyway, but as I said, I'd read everything. Definitely, I loved to read when I was in school, so I was reading all those different books. Yes, I didn't like some of those books, but at least I was reading them, and I developed this love for language and just how different people viewed the world through their writing. And that just really stayed with me. So I never gave up on my writing. Sometimes I would have to put it on the back burner because of life and school and everything. But I met, over the last couple of years, I met a lady who's a friend of a friend. She had published some of her works. She had a small indie press, which is sadly since defunct,
Oh.
but it's okay. It's okay. It was after a very frank discussion about finances for her. But anyway, I wrote a proposal to her because I had it in this mind to write this book. And I wanted to really throw into, at first I wanted it to be a ghost story because, write what you know, and I know ghosts. But I also,
Another question after this one.
oh boy, yeah, buckle in, everybody.
I can't wait.
But I wanted to write about hidden histories in Virginia. I really did. And so one thing that really fascinated me, and this is one of the plots of The Safe Room, is delving into what the eugenics movement was
Ooh,
during
yeah.
the early 20th century throughout the United
Don't
States.
even know what that is.
Okay. When to talk about that?
Kind of like a
bookmark.
little Hitler.
What?
So basically, eugenics was this idea. It began in the UK, actually. It began in England in the 19th century. It was the idea of better breeding. Because in the 19th century, they were doing the experiments with genetics, Mendel's genetics, and trying to figure out how you can grow the best plants and stuff like that. But
But then sadly it goes into let's genetically engineer the best humans.
Pretty much, although not with the technology that we have today, of course. But
Right.
yeah, they were So when it came to the idea of better breeding, it was basically the idea of, okay, well, what's not good breeding? And that would be mental illness. It would be some physical conditions, race, poverty, alcoholism. So a lot of states began to adopt their own eugenic sterilization laws. Virginia's
I had no
Date-
idea this.
Oh my God, I read this really, not to interject,
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. I'll have to look it up so we can link it. But there's this book that does this whole rundown of the history of this, not in Virginia, but I believe it was in Chicago or somewhere outside of Chicago, where all these women, they were just, if you did anything, like you were caught flirting with a man or something, they would haul you into like a psych facility, and next thing you know, you're being sterilized.
America?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
And this
was
got
the
even
thing.
worse during World War One, I believe.
So yeah,
Why
which
isn't this taught in history books?
oh gee, let's think why.
Well, never mind.
Oh gee.
It's real history, folks.
Yeah. So in Virginia, the idea of eugenical sterilization actually was put on the law books by the Virginia General Assembly in 1924. It was also put in past the same time as the Racial Integrity Act, which basically was saying, oh, you have to have a certain amount of, if you claim to be if you claim to be descended from Pocahontas, you've got this much native blood in you, but the rest of you was white. So it was basically Virginia's way of figuring out who was white and who was black.
and then
and
let's
everything
suppress everything about those
Pretty
people, like you
much.
can't vote, etc.
Mm-hmm. And this eugenical sterilization law was on the books until the 1970s here in Virginia. Mm-hmm. So even some of the mental hospitals around here did this. There were
Insane.
I could go to town on this. I had to do I did a deep dive to research this book. I already knew about it because I was an anthropology major in college and I read about it. So I'm like, I need to share this, but then how am I going to do this? I don't just want to be a slam horror plot because this is horrifying enough.
Right.
So it evolved into basically my main character finding more information about this and how close it touched her own life. And she decided the best way to get it out there is to start creating a space for people to come and have those conversations and to work with the medium of art in her instance in order to make that happen. And I actually got inspired by that in real
That's
life.
so cool. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a lot of stuff going on. Sorry, I've got a lot to say, don't I? But
Now-
yeah, this publisher gave me the chance, and she took it. She ran with the Safe Room, and then she also published some short stories that I wrote. She also started the publication for my latest novella, Nova. And
Also,
now I'm doing it on my own.
Can you explain what a novella is?
Sure. Everybody will tell you a different definition, but we have a novel, and most of the time, novels are about minimum 50,000 words in length. A novella is usually shorter than that. I've seen some novellas that are my own. They're kind of like on the low end, like maybe 15,000 to 18,000 words. But 20,000 to 30,000 words would be the average novella length. So it's basically a more compact,
It's
And
good
it's still
for
a complete
people
story.
with short attention spans, like me.
which so many people do. Yeah. So I've got 2 of those novellas out. I am now self-publishing them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it is what it is. The book business is rough. It's hard to most of us writers, we aren't the Stephen Kings, we aren't the big bestseller, we aren't J.K. Rowling. Those sorts of writers are good, but they have other things working for them.
Sure.
The average writer, we're not like that. We're just making your way. So there's so many ways that people can support those writers, not just by buying our books, but by sharing, sharing social media
Doing
about
this.
us,
Yeah.
doing the podcast.
Actually, that was gonna lead me to a question.
Sure.
I always like to hear advice on how people break into the industry, and anything you can tell our listeners who are trying their hand at writing, and what you would say is like a key thing, because like you were saying, we actually had a writer on a few weeks
I
ago.
know her. I know Catherine.
Kat. Okay.
Yes,
Oh,
I
that's
met
so
her
cool.
briefly.
That's awesome.
I have her. I've actually bought her book for my husband.
Oh, cool. Well, she was saying she wished she had known how large of a play, like what you would put at play to do this, would be like a social media presence. And she kind of felt she got late into the game doing that. What would be, besides that, like a good tip you would? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
No,
something
not
to
at all.
help with getting yourself published if you don't have the means to publish yourself, or
So, obviously, the big rule is never give up. I mean, you really want to go for it, go for it. Make it a discipline or a practice of putting some time for yourself each day to actually write something. And believe it or not, people actually write more words than they think. But also, as you develop your practice, be intentional about what you're writing. Really think about what you want to get out there. And then the way that I ended up doing this, and I asked for a lot of help when I started self-publishing. I even spoke to my former publisher, because she's a friend and she cares about building a community of writers, and she's a writer herself. So one thing that I did do, because of course Amazon is the massive conglomerate, I did use what's called Kindle Direct Publishing, which you can publish your manuscript to Kindle.
Oh, that's cool.
And also you can opt for a paperback format too. It's, it is what it is, because you have to put stuff on Amazon. It's just
Yeah.
how it goes.
Well, I've read about that. I've actually thought about doing romance novels.
Ooh.
Because I'm like, damn, I got a lot of porn in my head I could spin out.
So that would
But-
be more erotica than anything
Yes,
else, girl.
Yes, but I actually read about like tips were going onto Amazon and getting like as much as you can onto Amazon. So
Yeah, I mean it is necessary. I also, for another format you can use, I've used something called Draft to Digital, which I mostly use it for ebook format, because there's other ebook disseminators out there, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, all those different sources, and they even have an option for you to give through something through libraries. So I'm looking into that a little bit more. I'm not great with social media either, especially after a long day staring at a computer screen.
all right.
That's honestly the last thing I want to do. And to be honest, if it wasn't for my podcast and the writing and the fact that I started Facebook when I started going abroad, because when I went abroad, Facebook was still relatively new. It was 2010 when I went abroad. So it was the best way to share all my photos and all my experiences with my friends and family. So, but if it wasn't for all that, I probably would not be on social media too much. I do use Facebook mostly because I've just got the biggest presence there. I do use Instagram, and I'm getting a little bit better at Instagram. I'm starting to also make more quick contacts through Instagram, so that actually does help too.
Great way to network as a
Yeah, I really like
as a
Instagram, honestly.
creator.
Yeah.
Like with our podcast, that's how we get our followers and listeners. It brings people together.
Yeah, and and I promise I'm getting a lot better with putting stuff up there. It's just sometimes it's like, okay, I'm so used to posting web links, but it doesn't accept the web links. It
Right,
wants
I know,
pictures.
yep.
Like, I don't
But
have.
I feel like
it
we can work around it because we
Really?
have a link tree, and
Yeah,
I
link
can help
tree.
you with that. We can talk about that after.
We must. Okay, we will talk
And
about
I do
that.
have to say one thing. Leah's back.
Lee.
And I have a segue
Thank you.
into my next question that we forgot to ask. How do you guys know each other?
Oh God, it feels like, honestly, Lee, I feel like you've just always been in my life.
Aw.
Trying to find a single event. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was a single event. I mean, we do have people in common through Red Vein, Haunted House.
I know. I saw your sticker. Your bumper sticker.
Yes, I did actually. So my very first year here in Richmond area, I just was like, okay, I want to just go do a haunted house attraction, and I started looking it up, and that's how I found Red Vein. So
It's the best. By the
yeah,
way.
it is
Richmonders,
such a good
it's the
haunt.
best.
I stand Red Vein.
Oh my God, yes. me too.
Yes,
Oh,
Red Vein is awesome. Some of the best creators and some of the best hearted people that you'll ever meet.
And it's hands-on.
It's right there, and it's right here, folks.
So good.
Yeah,
It's actually scary.
I
it's
know.
very
I
scary.
actually almost peed my. Well, I might have tinkled a little.
Ooh,
Who
ooh,
knows?
ooh, yellow alert, yellow alert.
Red alert.
I don't like clowns. I don't like clowns, man.
I think that hits everybody. But Lee and I did know some people in common from Red Vein, and I think we just really started to just sort of like each other.
Yeah, we started meeting at Barnes & Noble for coffee.
So Red Vein brought you together?
I think it
I
did.
think that may have been
That's
common.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then it turned out we also have other cool things in common. We're both kind of in the museum and library profession. So there's that. Gretchen, of course, is a doll, and I
Yes.
love her. We both love. I also know people. I think you also got into Dungeons and Dragons a little bit.
Yes.
Yes, that's another connection.
Indeed, baby.
I actually run a game right now.
Oh,
with
that's
some friends of
fine.
One of
mine.
my best friends does that. Her name is Petra Wagner.
I have not met her, but I am
Yeah.
involved with a networking group.
You'll meet her eventually.
If she's familiar with goblins and growlers, she should totally
Probably.
check it out.
She loves
I like those
cats.
guys. Yeah.
She wears cat ears and says meow and all that.
Everybody I know wears cat ears and says I mean what? What?
I'm wearing cat ears and saying meow right now.
Meow.
She
Meow,
is, ladies and
meow.
they are. You only wish I could you ladies and gentlemen, if only you could see what I'm seeing.
All right, guys. We what was I gonna say? We could talk forever, so we have to keep rolling.
Wait, but I have a good one.
Oh, I have a good one too.
Go
Uh-oh,
ahead.
paper
I
rocks.
was gonna say you're a paranormal investigator.
Oh, damn it.
Oh,
Can we
this is-
back it up? Sorry, because we just mentioned history, so I'm like history
Okay,
and then
go ahead.
paranormal. Sorry.
Okay.
Lee, you're going to have to edit this heavily.
Oh.
Okay, so in doing my research on you, Madame,
God.
I saw you're an educator at the Valentine Museum.
I was.
Oh, you are? Okay. And so, can you tell us more about the Valentine Museum? Because I don't think enough people know about the Valentine Museum in Richmond, and it doesn't get enough
Heard of it.
hype. There you go.
Richmonders, I'm serious. Shame on you. Greater Richmond area, you need to know the Valentine Museum. I actually worked there starting from 2018 until last year. And
So
I'll
I'm not that far off.
No. But I am still in the museum field. I'll tell you where I work
Okay,
a little bit
cool.
later.
Yeah.
But the Valentine Museum is it's a couple hundred years old. It was established by the Valentines. So no, it has nothing to do with Valentine's Day. I get asked that question all the time when I was working there.
It's not a Hallmark stand.
No, but it does tell the history of Richmond and its surrounding areas. And that's at least a 400-year-old history. So in their collections, they have all sorts of objects and artifacts reflecting that. So I think they have about over 1 million in their 3-dimensional collections. And that includes a huge dugout canoe that was found on the banks of the James River. So that is indicative of the Powhatan Confederacy and other tribes that were in the Richmond area. So that's a pretty cool
Awesome.
thing. I lost count of how many times I had to tell kids, no, you cannot get in that.
Crump Park.
I'm sure.
I don't know if you've ever been there. Crump Park it's like 2 seconds from me on Staples Mill, off of Staples Mill.
Mhm.
They have a Native American history building,
Mm-hmm.
and they talk about the Powhatan tribe, and that's how I came to know that Richmond had a lot of Native Americans.
There
I
were
guess all America does.
tons. So the Powhatan tribe that you mentioned, it was more than just one tribe. It was a confederacy of at least 30 different tribes.
Wow.
And some of them are still around today. The Pamunkey was part of that confederacy and still around today, and very active. So, and then on the other side of the James River fall line, where we are in Richmond, it was a natural boundary and also a cultural boundary, because on one side you had the Powhatan Confederacy, which were mostly Algonquin language speakers.
Mhm.
And then on the other side, you had the Monacan Nation, which were Siouan language speakers.
Oh, wow.
So it was a natural and cultural boundary, and Richmond was at the epicenter of all that.
Did they fight, or were they peaceful? Did they get along?
I mean, my personal feeling on that is I think that they got along as much as they could, but they also fought as much as possible, too. I think there were some trading going on between both groups. There are many people that can speak to that much better than I can. And another place, you mentioned Crump Park, another place where you can also learn about the Powhatan Confederacy is Henricus
Oh, my God, yes. I was
in Chesterfield County. So big shout out there.
We'll tag 'em.
I actually have a friend that works there. He's head of interpretation, so pretty
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Yeah, and also a paranormal investigator.
They do reenactments there some, too.
They are a living history
Yeah.
site,
Oh,
so
I would
yes,
love
you're
to
in
go.
costume.
I've been out there. We only went for running, but
Yep. Oh yeah, because there's the
Trail
there's
behind,
the Dutch
yeah.
Gap Trail that's right there too. And I like that. I like that when historic areas, especially outdoor sites, are able to also pull in and draw people to explore the natural resources.
yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, that's how I got to know the Crump Park
Mhm.
facility, just by walking. And
She brought
I
me
was
over
video.
there. I know.
We just we were walking together, and we walked in one day. I'm like, "What the heck is this?" And we went in, and it was like
Yeah.
we could learn. So I didn't even know there was Native American history here. I guess I know
Oh,
there's
it's
Native
huge.
American history everywhere in America, but
Oh, it's huge. But also, it's important to remember that also, and this is a huge part of my job, in the museum field and being a historian. And I had my world rocked about this one time. I took a course. We were talking about, it was indigenous librarianship. So it was talking about how libraries and museums serve indigenous populations. And of course, what blew my mind was that these people exist in the present day. They are present and active, and yet anything dealing with their lives is filed
Past
under
tense.
history,
Yeah.
wow.
when it's so much more than that. That rocked my world. That really did. So better late than never.
Yeah, right. I know. Well, you mentioned you are you're doing something different historically.
Yes. Anyway,
us about
no,
that.
but I do want to plug the Valentine Museum. It is a beautiful place. They have, first, for those of you that are interested in decorative arts, you can definitely go and see the indoor exhibits. They also have the Wickham House, which
Ooh.
is right on the street corner on Clay Street. Scratch that. Clay Street. The White House of the Confederacy building is across the way from it. It is in the heart of MCV and VCU Medical Campus. So park accordingly, folks.
Oh,
But
gosh.
yeah. And they also are undergoing a big effort to expand their collection storage, and they've been doing some construction, but it is still open. It's a wonderful place. The school kids love it. So, just go out there and support it. But the other place I'm working right now, I started working there last year. It's called Menokin, which is spelled Menokin. Now, it is not in Richmond. It is actually in the northern neck of
Oh, okay.
Virginia.
Cool.
So it's a nice long drive. But if you go on 360 and make like you're going towards Tappahannock, you cross the bridge at Tappahannock and you're practically there. Menokin is a National Historic Landmark. It's the home of one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, Francis Lightfoot Lee. The house dates to 1769. except it's not a complete house. It actually is a ruin. And Minokan is in the process of restoring and stabilizing it, and then implementing glass, architectural glass, to show everybody the workmanship and the craftsmanship of the old historic fabric of the building. It's also located on 500 acres of land.
Wow.
There are hiking trails, including fairy houses on them.
Ooh.
And it's on Cat Point Creek, which is a tributary of the Rappahannock River. So I went from the James to the Rappahannock.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
It's a really cool place. We are working on a lot of different things. Another key thing is at Minokan is the descendants community, where we, with other folks, we've been learning more about the descendants of enslaved individuals that were at Minokan too. So we're working on increasing that narrative, increasing the research, and eventually the descendants community is going to take more of an active role in how they want their stories to be told.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
We'll
yeah.
definitely link up all the information for that. and
Absolutely.
I think we need to
I
take
wanna
a
hear
field
about-
trip.
I want to hear about the ghosts.
I know. All right.
You
let's
will.
move on.
Tell us how you got
Debbie
into the paranormal.
I just sort of fell
And
into
also,
it.
we have a mutual contact, Lynn and John Harris. I play cornhole
Yes.
with them, and we're gonna have John on the podcast.
Well,
I
actually,
love John.
that also goes to Lee's question of tell us a little bit more about paranormal investigation. That was
Okay.
in Lee's voice.
Pretty good.
That was a good voice.
It was my radio voice.
Yeah, just as sexy as mine. Yes.
More like that.
You are such a leady killer.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Womp womp womp.
we gotta get this going.
I need the pun tax. Anyway. So, yes, I know John and I know Lynn. They're fun. I always laugh when I see them. They make me happy.
They're hilarious, especially John.
Yes, very much so. I've always been into knowing about ghosts and things like that since I was a little kid. Of course, back in the 80s and 90s, we had Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
Robert Stack.
I stand that.
I stand him. Stand Robert Stack. But and that was one of the shows that I would actually sneak in and watch in my parents' bedroom at 9 o'clock at night. And it didn't scare me. None of that scared me. I was like, okay.
The
yeah.
credits scared me the most. That there were some weird faces
dun, dun,
on
dun,
there.
dun,
Yeah.
The theme song will live in my memory.
Burn in your brain.
Yeah. But, that's where I really started seeing some paranormal stuff, and I found it interesting. And also, again, I was reading. I spent a lot of time in the libraries when I was a kid. I spent a lot of time in our public libraries. I spent a lot of time in the school libraries, hiding from bullies. So it was a great place to be. Yeah, we won't go there.
I don't want to, but let's not.
Yeah, I kind of want to as well. This is therapy.
I'm picturing a nice, like Sebastian-esque, never-ending story. Let's.
Oh, I
We were
wish.
burning candles in the.
Oh, I wish. I wanted Falcor to come
I know,
and
right?
scoop me up
Rescue
and
you.
fly away. That would be so awesome. I still want that, actually.
Who doesn't?
Who
Hello,
doesn't?
Falcor, Atreyu, we're here.
Oh, Atreyu. Anyway, rest in. Atreyu, we love you. Anyway, so I was reading a lot too, and there were some books that were geared towards the paranormal for kids in my school library, and then I started discovering more when I went to the public library. So it mostly took the form of just doing a lot of reading. And I was into the stories at first. Like, I really loved just reading stories about ordinary people who were just going through these really interesting and strange circumstances. And I loved the history. That really sucked me in too. Although, to be fair, I was a pretty big fraidy cat. I was like, okay, well, I'm reading about them, but that doesn't mean I want to see one. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't want to see one. I don't want to see one.
Same.
Yeah, but
I do.
it started evolving because I was sensing things, not in my house, but when we'd go to certain locations at, like as field trips or something, I'd sense things. But I didn't, obviously back in the 80s and 90s, who knew what to make of it back then?
Yeah.
Right.
There really was not much. So I think it was always in part of me, just reading about it, reading about magic and Wicca and getting into that as well. And also finally finding friends that shared my interests, but not to the point where we were able to do much about it, just we were curious. But I wanted more than that. I actually wanted to really get into it. I was in Philadelphia when Ghost Hunters first came out, and I knew, Eastern State Penitentiary was right there. And so I visited that. I visited I was like, I'm into this. What do I do? What do I do? But I never really found a group. So it kind of took the form of me just kind of going on public investigations when they were out for the public, and that's how I met folks from Transcend Paranormal, who are awesome and highly recommend. Hi guys. That's also how I met John and Lynn. So even I technically really got into investigating the paranormal when I came back to Virginia in 2018, but I've been into it for years, since the very beginning. And now I'm on a podcast. I mean, what?
So cool.
I know. Tell us a little bit about the podcast.
I am having so much fun with it. It's called the Paraunity Podcast. Me and my co-host, Brandon. Brandon actually lives in Iowa. We have not met in person.
That's wild.
Yeah, but we will be meeting in person very soon.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yes. But Brandon was looking for a co-host for his show. The show had been going on for at least 3 or 4 seasons before I came on it. And he was it was a post on Facebook, and he's like, I'm looking for a co-host who's interested. And so we kind of connected through that, and he's like my brother. He really is like a brother to me, and we have yet to be in the same room together. So we started just doing these episodes, and I do have a lot of people. I know a lot of people, so I've been able to bring some people on the show, including Transcend Paranormal. I brought on Ray Savino from RTL Paranormal and some of their group. I brought Mustafa from Ghost Hunters, the new Ghost Hunters on the show.
So cool.
So yeah, and we're just going strong, and we start our new season. We do live recordings, so we go through StreamYard, and so you can see us on Facebook and on YouTube channel.
We
and
liked you already.
yay,
I know.
yay!
And one thing I do want to ask, because it's the most intriguing question that I have.
Oh God,
What is the most strongest sense you've ever had of a paranormal thing? I don't know. Just tell us your scariest ghost story that you have, that you've personally experienced.
well, that is actually kind of the topic of another book I'm working on.
Ooh.
This time nonfiction.
That's awesome.
My favorite haunted location to investigate is St. Albans Sanatorium in Radford, Virginia.
Ooh.
It is got a big history. It was built in 1892. It started out life as a boys' prep school. It ran for several years. I actually have copies. There's digital copies of the yearbooks that you can actually access from Radford University Special Collections.
Wow.
And they're digitized, so you can access them. But then after 1911, the school closed down, and then it reopened again in 1916 as a mental hospital. And it was a private hospital, actually, so you had to pay money for that one. And then it just ran like that. It was also a hospital for the area because that whole area didn't really have. Yeah. So it basically ran like that, and then it closed down in the 20th century, and now it is kind of abandoned, but it's not, because there is a wonderful woman who's working there as director of operations. It's her and a staff of volunteers that are keeping that building open.
Wow.
And they are on, I think they do have a National Register of Historic Places designation, but there is a lot of activity there. It is billed as one of the most active locations on the East Coast. A lot of us have been out there.
That's amazing.
It
so can
is.
anyone, do you have to contact them, like make an appointment? Or?
Yeah, you
Okay.
do. And I'll share that information. But they also have a Facebook page, and they also now that it's getting to be spooky season, they are going to be running a haunted house attraction,
Ooh.
which generates revenue, of course.
But what is the scariest thing you've experienced?
Well, at St. Albans, I have been touched quite a few
By an
times.
angel?
Well, I don't know what it was, but it probably was not an angel. Probably not anything more than that either. But I do remember one of the first times I investigated there. I was walking with my group, and we were in these isolation wards. So it's a narrow hallway, and you have individual wards on either side. There was this one room. It was the last room on the right-hand side. I felt as though something just loomed up at me and just got in my face, like, whoom, just like that. And I felt the anger. I felt the rage. But it wasn't directed at me, per se, but it was definitely right there at me. And I waited, and then I grabbed my guide, and I was like, I want to go in here, please. So me and two other investigators went in there, and boy, did the gadgets. They went very active, but honestly, the freakiest part of it, and it's not so much scary, but it definitely keeps my head scratching. I scratch my head every night about this. It was actually 2020. It was before the pandemic really hit. So this was the last big event I did before lockdown. It was cold in that building. So I was wearing 3 layers, a big coat, and a backpack. This backpack that I brought in on my back. And I felt something poke me right in the back through all those layers.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the hell did that? So I wouldn't say it was terrifying, but it definitely made me scratch my head. So it was enough to keep me going back there. And I am writing a nonfiction book about St. Albans. I am using some of the paranormal history because that is a part of its history. But I'm using it to sort of fuel more interest in the historical narrative and to bring up things that probably were not as well known, and also really to inspire investigators to be a little bit more critical thinking
Yeah.
and not just jump to conclusions about everything.
Does the book have a name yet?
I am working on titles right now. It's always difficult, but I'm thinking it might be something like Within the Walls or something like that.
Ooh.
I am actually going to be putting out one chapter. I'm going to take one. I'm working on a chapter right now that I'm going to submit to a publication called The Feminine Macabre. The Feminine Macabre is a journal. It's put out by Amanda Woomer of Spook Eats. And it's a journal that is all about paranormal for and by women and non-binary.
Ooh, that's awesome.
So it is and it sells too. So check it out. You can find it on any of your sites.
We'll link that. Yes.
Yes.
Sadly, we got to wrap this up.
I
We
know.
have
Have you
so
back
much more.
though.
I'll
Yes,
come
well,
back.
you're definitely coming back.
Heck
I
yeah.
mean, like for reals. There's so much more we want to talk about with you.
Absolutely.
So hard not to go over the time because we love when really cool, interesting people come.
I
We can
know.
talk for hours.
Thank you.
But
I'd love to.
tell us one more time where all of our guests, or not our guests, all of our listeners, I can't even talk anymore. Seriously. I'm so blown away by everything you're telling us. Tell us where we can find you, where we can find anything
How we can
involving
support
you. Yeah,
The
support
RVA, like
historic
authors,
sites,
Absolutely.
authors,
the
etc.
historical community and the paranormal community.
Absolutely. You can find me on Facebook, Whitney Zahar. I am the one and only. Z is in zebra, AHAR. You might also link up through my husband because he likes that too. Not just kidding. Don't do that. I'm also on Instagram at Whitney Zahar, all one word. And so those are my social media. Through the Paraunity Podcast, you can also find them on Facebook and on Instagram, and they have a YouTube channel. So that's awesome too. You can watch me as well as listen to me.
Soon you'll be able to do that with us. Season 2.
Someday.
Yeah.
It is well worth it. It's hilarious to do that. It really is.
You gotta look beautiful, me.
Yeah, and as for books, I do have all of them are up on Amazon. And one book, actually, if you buy a collection called Autumn Tales, which is 10 spooky stories released through Anatolian Press. I have a short story in it.
Awesome.
But 100% of those royalties go to Collective Liberty, which is an organization that fights against human and child trafficking.
Nice.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So an anthology with heart.
Yes.
So, yeah, definitely buy that. You can also see what other books I have, and I'll just be going. I will be appearing in person if you ever go to Illinois, to Rock Island, Illinois. I am going to be there for a Paracon, and I will be selling my books, and also Hanover Tavern Paracon next year. I'll also be there selling books too.
And
Awesome.
Whitney has graciously gifted us some of her books.
I
And
have.
Yeah,
We'll
but
give you the rundown.
we have a book club, and we will be reading them
Yes.
this year.
Show.
Thank you
Can't
so
wait.
much.
Well, now we're going to go into a funny round, but we got to plug a few people first.
Do it.
Take a little break. Picture it. Sicily. Now. On the beach. You're thirsty. You're very thirsty.
It's hot as hell.
It is. You're schwitzing, you're spritzing, you don't know. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to open a can of my favorite beverage to drink on the beach. That's right. Oh, shit. You heard that popping right now? That's right. Even the Golden Girls would approve of this. It's called Coastal Spritz.
But I don't want to get fat.
Oh, well, you won't, because guess what? They're all 85 to 100 calories.
But I'm gluten free.
There ain't no gluten up in there.
But I'm a vegan.
There ain't nothing other than fruits and juice up in there.
But I'm snobby about my ingredients.
I don't give a damn. These are the best ingredients I've ever seen.
All natural, baby. Coastal
Estelle
Spritz.
Getty would stand by this, all right? Drink Coastal Spritz, everyone. That's right.
And Whitney, what do you think?
That is delicious. It's nice and light.
And it really tastes like watermelon. Whitney's drinking the watermelon.
I'm drinking
So-
the watermelon flavor.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Drink Coastal Spritz.
Cheers.
Woo!
Just glass.
We're breaking glass.
And then also, do you want to feel sensual and in your feminine energy?
Hells yeah.
Well, luckily in Richmond, there is the best belly dancing coach known to man. Her name is Maya.
That's right. Maya's belly dancing. You gotta go check her out.
She does a belly dancing class on Mondays at the Dance Space on Broad Street. And then she does another class at Tangueros in Midlothian on Wednesdays. And it's really, really fun. You can be a beginner. You can be an expert. You can be whatever you want. Just show up.
And shake that booty.
And it's a spiritual experience, you guys. We take the class.
It really does. It grounds you. It makes you more in touch with your body. It helps you disconnect from social media.
It's a great workout.
And it's a wonderful community.
Yeah.
So
Meet a lot of fun ladies.
we suggest you go check out Maya's belly dancing as well. All right.
The Oh La La girl.
Yes. All right, now we'll go back to some questions, but let's do some funny questions now. Let's mix it up. All right, Whitney, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Bring it.
Let
me drink some more of mine.
Yes.
Cheers.
Take another sip of your spritz.
Okay.
Okay. What fictional character would you be best friends with in real life?
That's a good one.
Da, 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 da. No.
So I probably would. Okay, I'm going to have to go old school. I would so be friends with the girls in Little Women.
Yes.
I would be Actually, I'd be friends with all of them because Joe is awesome as a writer. But growing up, I felt more connected to Beth. So because she was quiet and just truly good. So I liked that. But I also like Meg too. I can appreciate her wanting to find love and married and just be so strong in that way. And I also like Amy too because we all need a little blonde brat in our lives.
It's true.
So
Hashtag
sorry for Amy fans, but that's how I feel.
Liz is a little blonde brat.
Yeah.
No, I'm a Joe, bitch.
I'm a little blonde brat.
No, but but we get along so great. Yes, so I would
Amy because I'm a bitch.
I would go with the girls of Little Women, at least in the classic examples. But I'm going to stick with that for right now.
I like
Lee?
it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What fictional character would you be friends with?
Oh, that's a tough one.
The demons in your logo underneath the staircase?
No, I
Ooh, that's fun.
I don't know. I really don't know.
It's a tough one to think about.
Yeah.
It'd
It's
take
hard.
a while to
I
think.
know.
I,
Go ahead.
for me, I don't know if you got. I'm younger than y'all. I don't know if you've ever watched the show, but the show That's So Raven.
Yes.
I would be friends with Raven Simone because she's hilarious. She's a sidekick, which is really cool, and also she has such a good style, and she's a fashion designer, and she would help me make custom clothes, and I just love that show,
Ooh.
and it still makes me laugh to this day.
Nice.
I didn't know we were including TV.
I didn't know either, but we'll let it.
Whatever, we'll let it fly. I had already thought of a book, but so any of the Boxcar Children, I was obsessed
Yeah.
with those books as a kid, and I loved how they survived before they met Grandpa, or I like to call him Daddy Warbanks because he was basically a Daddy Warbanks.
Basically,
character.
what do
I know. But they lived in like a boxcar for real and foraged for food and yada yada. Anyway, we everyone should check those out, or have your kids check them out.
Absolutely.
They'll learn how to forage for food.
Here's a good question for a writer. If someone wrote a book about your life, what would the title be?
A Mom Full of Ghosts.
I like that.
Because I've been thinking about that myself.
Ghost daycare.
Oh, God.
Mine would be Laughing Through the Shitstorm.
I like that. That's good.
Mine would be tripping on your face, but somehow finding greatness.
I like that too.
Blonde bitch.
yes. Oh, that. I like that.
Lee, pancreatitis, would that be the name of your book at this point?
Yeah, that hurts. Yeah, that's what it'd be. It's like, ouch.
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 Ouch, the book.
Ouch, that hurt.
I like that too.
Aw.
Sorry, Lee.
Oh,
Thanks for hanging in there.
but-
We love
but-
our tech guy.
Can you,
Lee, give it to us,
To us,
please. Can you still give it to us? In your state?
in your pancreatic state?
my heart is breaking right now.
I know.
You gotta smile, laugh through the shitstorm.
No kidding.
Barbie.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord.
$1 billion at the box office. Hasn't happened since before COVID. Now, Barbie, her full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts.
Maleficent.
11-inch, 29 centimeter plastic doll with the figure of an adult woman that was introduced in March 9th, 1959. Now, what's interesting is that Barbie was not an original design. Let's say it was modeled on a cartoon character in Germany, sort of a risque gag gift for men.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And and Mattel bought the rights and paid the
cleaned her up.
designers.
The rest is history.
Mm-hmm. And let's see.
I love a good comeback story.
Let's see. What is the Oh,
Next page.
Yeah.
Turn the page.
the largest, the biggest selling Barbie doll is the wait, how did it go?
The anticipation.
Oh, it's
Anticipation.
maybe that's where we met.
No.
Yeah, no.
I didn't do Rocky Horror with you. Sorry. I would have
Duck, duck,
remembered
goose,
that.
Duck, duck, goose. No.
Oh yeah, the one thing that Barbie will never have is pregnancy.
Just kidding.
She
I want
has no
her.
genitals.
She has no hole.
Nothing goes in or out.
Yep, the designers said the goal is to capture Barbie between it's like adulthood and just before childbirth. So
Better out
That
than
is
in, I
very
always
bizarre.
say.
So between childhood and adulthood, I don't have a vagina.
I beg to differ
Wrong.
on that remark.
False
Just
news.
disappears for a while there.
False information.
That is
Anyway,
false news.
that's fine. We
Oh.
love Barbie. Let's go party.
the number one selling Barbie doll is the totally hair Barbie.
Ooh,
That's me.
yes.
All right, guys, it's everyone's favorite time. We're gonna guess Lee's name. Hopefully,
Oh,
he has
God.
the strength to say, "Nope, you didn't guess it." All right, we're gonna give you 3 tries, but we're gonna go around the
Round
room, and
robin.
if you get the name, we have a $25 gift card that we ask that you spend at a local RVA institution, whether that be a shop, a restaurant, anywhere, but as long as it's an RVA local business.
I think we can manage that.
All right,
We'll
well,
be
let's
monitoring
go.
you doing. All right, Whitney, you go first.
Okay, so here's the weird thing. Lee claims that he has told me his name before, but I honestly
Lee.
don't remember.
How could
Good.
you?
I
So
don't know.
here we go.
Okay.
I hope she gets it.
Montague.
No.
Arduous.
No.
Barabbas.
Nope.
Aloysius.
Nope.
Army.
No.
Joshua.
Sure. No.
All right, last try. Patient.
She's really trying, folks.
Francis.
Ooh, the good one.
No.
Ooh, that's a
Oh.
good one. I had another one in my head and it just went away. Oh Lord. God. Cassius.
No.
Josiah.
No.
Damn it, you guys.
I
And so it continues. And so it continues.
The saga.
Mhm.
Okay, let's do some final shout outs. Shout out to Whitney, our wonderful guest. Thank you so much. And we're
Yes.
going to have you back on because we had too much to talk
I
about.
know. That was
Absolutely.
just an intro. That we
You know,
covered the 3
This
specialities.
episode
of hers and then
literally flew by, and we
Yeah.
had some technical difficulties, and we pushed through.
we dealt with
know-
illness.
We will have a part 2 because there's just too much to cover.
It's like we're on the Oregon Trail and someone's got cholera or typhoid.
Dark.
And we tap out.
Yeah. History.
History.
Okay,
There might be some ghosts out there
So final
on the Oregon Trail.
final shout outs for me. Shout out to the Doswell Rodeo. Shout out to the Great American Ranch. Shout out to all the countrified things up in here. There's so many ways to be a country girl in this state. And in
Hells
Richmond.
yeah.
Liz?
Yep.
Shout out to, what did I do? Shout out to the Continental, both locations. Shout out to the Richmond's Runner Club. Shout out to the Brouhaha and the Virginia Museum of History and Culture. Shout out to Long Oven.
Shout out to Lee Dungeon Studios.
That's right. What?
Maybe not this week while Lee recovers, but after that, if you
If
need
you
a
wanna-
recording, if you need a CD, if you need a podcast, don't come on Thursday, fellas, and ladies. But come any other day except for this week because Lee needs to rest.
Yes, but come on down to the dungeon
We got fun and games.
after like 10 to 12 days.
All right, Whitney, thank you so much.
Thank you. This
All right,
is great.
thank you. We'll see everybody next time where we're talking counseling and having fun with my divorce with my fellow Tucker Tiger. All right, we'll leave you in anticipation. Nighty night.